Some women create skylights in their homes, shadow maps, so they never forget the way. But I shrank to the size of his expectations for me. Pulled my knees up to my chest and told God, you can take me home now, only you'll have to carry me. I was that weak, that small, and shrinking. But instead of picking me up, God bent down, looked me in the eyes like the daughter I am, and said, arise, beloved one. He knew I could walk because he had formed my legs on that day he knit me together in my mother's womb. And when he saw me wallowing in my own blood, instead of walking away in disgust, he said, live, daughter. And I did. Years later, when I sat in the dust of what had crumbled around me, crippled by grief, Jesus walked by. And seeing the rubble and my legs folded underneath me, did not hesitate to say, arise, daughter, take up your mat and walk. And I did, because of his kindness toward me, because he gave me the ability to stand and dust off the wreckage. And on days when my legs buckle and collapse, he joins me on the floor, stoops down to sit with me in the dust of my heartache and weariness, my friend, well acquainted with grief. We don't speak, but he is near. And I could tell you more stories about Jesus and the times he sat with me and stood with me, but if I wrote them all out, the world itself could not contain the books that would be written. And I don't need a skylight, and you don't need a map to know where the light comes from. I don't even need a roof on this house because I plan on growing much, much taller. Live, daughter, arise. This poem is called, Does It Bother You How Much He Loved Her? Today, he tweets pictures of her headstone, where nestled grass has grown over 3 years, and he writes about wanting death to come untrue. How he'd join her some days if he could, how he would like to melt into the earth. She was his love, and love isn't something we bury with dirt or time. She was his love, and now there will always be loss mixed with happiness. Does it bother you how much he loved her? You don't ask this, but wonder it. And all I can tell you is that he is a history of faithfulness, the only future I don't fear. Two funerals during Holy Week, as if he hasn't thought about death enough. Last Sunday would have been his mother's birthday, but she died at 43. Spring is when his wife died at 30, and Lent lasts for so long in this house that we have to tackle each other in hallways and our living room, like children playing, inviting life into bodies that have seen too much death, forcing gloom to surrender to joy. We have turned laughter into legitimate therapy, which is all our survival guide would say. Find someone who cracks you up. You'll need it. Two funerals, then Easter, when he will remind the congregation he is risen. When it's sunny, we open the front door to watch what is growing, what is green, what is true despite true sorrow. And we talk about resurrection a lot, like a dear long-distance friend who we know still loves us despite the distance. He is risen indeed. And the pastor who has suffered passes around the broken bread of his body and heart to a body who needs pain recognized. He is the gift no one prays for, because that would be cruel. But really, we are so thankful to have you. You are the place where the morning of life gets tangled up in new morning mercies, where grocery stores and outside chores become adventures. When will you realize, oh my soul, that there will always be a child born on the same day that someone else dies? that it is not selfish to be happy, even with wreckage in your rear view, that it is not within your power to untangle joy from pain. If I'm honest, this has been a long, cold winter for a Californian, and I listen eagerly when the grocer tells me about spring in Iowa, how everything grows, everything. I can't wait to see that. For now, I take vitamin D so that I can get out of bed when the sun never comes out, and I watch you raise flower beds inside our living room with your low chuckle and constant warmth. You make watching TV with blankets covering our shivering feet feel like the place I'll go the next time some conference speaker invites the audience to think about their happy place. You can't wait to plant us a garden, but you already bring life into this winter house, this February snow globe. Even when it's not yet green outside, your arms are the kind of limbs children build tree houses on. That strong, that safe, that much of a sure thing. You bring spring into my life in the dead of winter. And I'll end with this poem. It's the last poem in my book. It's called Old and New. A lot of things look like love until the vase that holds the flowers is shaken and bitter water spills out, covering even the good memories. Which is why when I found that old letter taped inside a book of Pablo Neruda poems, I made the choice to crinkle up the past, asking God to take care of the water damage, to hold my future, and to steady what still shakes from time to time. I asked him to be a father, not a love poem, to be a doctor who makes the tough decisions so that one day I will heal. A few hours after I threw away that letter from my ex, my precious husband of 4 months walked into my office with an envelope containing a poem he'd written for me on smooth, cream-colored paper. He didn't notice the crumpled memory in my trash can, just smiled and said, "I wrote this for you." It's okay to not look back. It's okay to look forward to the future with a broken heart and a limp. Is there any other way to travel toward God this side of heaven?